Wow, Sina.
Another day, another dollar. I'm saving just to be broke. They said college was serious, but my degree feel like a joke. 4 years or less, I'm saying I got it done. No playing, just to end up at my mom's after I told her I wasn't staying. Well, here we are. No question, I'm a star. Just got some light years to travel, but it's just so far. But I'ma make it though. Make sure you get your focus right. You coming too? It's about to be one hell of a ride. Yeah, this adults and stuff is crazy. They ain't warn us about this. I'm supposed to live my best life on an unpaid internship. I'm supposed to find my husband. Everybody running game. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. Went from worrying about on flow to running from Uncle Sam. Now I understand why student accounts never gave a damn. Saving accounts be slipping, trying to work out, but I'm tripping. I forgot health insurance. Oh, I'm my mom's until I'm 26, so I gotta pay these student loans. That's adulting. With the score doing the most. That's adulting. Moving out of mom's house. That's adulting. But it's all gonna work out. That's adulting. I need a legal side hustle. That's adulting. Cause these bills got me in trouble. That's adulting. Journey's course is never planned. That's adulting. Just leave it in God's hands. Cause that's adulting.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of the School of Life podcast. Honey, what has been up with y'all? Is life kicking your butt the way that it is trying to beat me down? Listen, the devil has been busy in my life, but let me tell you, my God is busier. Can I get an amen? No, but really, I feel like I am in a season of fix it, Jesus. The most bizarre, and I do mean bizarre, the most bizarre things are happening all around me. And I'm just like, what's really going on here, Lord? I need you to come down and help a sister out. But I'm constantly trying to lean on my faith just a little harder, and keyword is trying, y'all. I thought I was going to have to cut somebody, so I need y'all to pray for me between challenges at work, someone I know stealing my identity, getting my entrepreneur life together. I am literally floating on a piece of grace, but I am thankful for it. Even though I try not to complain, when I do complain, I remind myself how blessed I am and that I am thankful for these challenges. As for you and your house, though, I hope your lives are intact. But if it's burning a little bit like mine, it's okay. We're in this together. And as always, I am praying for y'all, and I do mean that. So today, I'm excited to close out our financial literacy series with this episode on credit. Listen, I had zero ideas about what credit was until about my sophomore year of college. And it was only because of my godparents that I began learning about it. And had they not taught me the things that they did, child, I don't know where in the world my credit would be. I learned some tough lessons along the way, but I'm thankful that they helped me and they taught me the importance of credit before I got just gone too far. And if you are gone too far, it's okay. Like, we can always recover, always rebound. But shout out to my godparents. I love them, and they know I am so thankful for all that they do. So all I want to do today is just share my journey to pretty good credit and share some knowledge that I've gained about credit with you. I understand that not everyone has someone to teach them about these adult things, and correction, these very important adult things. I'm still not really sure why you don't learn this in college, but hey, whatever. That's a big reason why this podcast exists. So before we hop into the show and I get down to the nitty gritty, y'all know I have to knock out our class announcement. So I only have two today. Don't forget that I'm providing free business promo during the show and tell segment for all of my entrepreneurs out there. And an entrepreneur can be a blogger, an author, a wig seller. Look, I don't discriminate. Send me an email at schooloflifepod@gmail.com or just slide in my DM so we can talk about the details. I say this every week. Y'all know I love supporting people, and the show and tell segment does just that. So yeah, there's also a post on my Instagram and on the podcast Instagram that you can share with your friends who have businesses. So screenshot it, repost it, DM it to them, whatever you like. Just let people know, free business promo over here. Also, be sure you're following the podcast at School of Life Pod on Instagram. Look, Instagram is where I do my most connecting with y'all, so don't be shy. I've gotten a few followers so far, which I'm excited about. But Instagram is also where I post the homework, the tips and resources, and the easiest ways to communicate with me aside from email. So if you're not driving or doing laundry or whatever you may be doing listening to this here podcast, head over to Instagram right now and hit that follow button on the Instagram page at School of Life Pod. And shout out to all 232 of my followers right now. I see y'all and I love y'all. And if you're feeling friendly, you can follow me on my personal page at underscore MISSJAYE. So, told y'all quick and easy, 2 announcements. So, what has been going on with my life and what is life teaching me? A lot. I told y'all at the beginning of the episode, it's been a lot going on. But I would say this week, my teachable moment is the battle is not mine, it's the Lord's, period. Like, I don't have a bone in this fight. It is not mine. When I tell y'all, I have had to give so much stuff to Jesus this week alone because it was literally too much for me. Listen, I don't know about y'all. I'm tired. And why am I fighting when I already know that this is his fight? Like, what sense does that make? Do you hop in a fight that's not yours? No. So I can sit down and stop worrying my pretty little head because worrying and faith, that is, it's not a good mix, y'all. It's not going to go together. So I'm working really hard to get to a point where I don't even worry because I have nothing to do with this fight at all. The big homie has it. I'm going to let him rock out and do his thing. And I really want that for all of you. Give it to the Lord, honey, because he's fighting this. So if I had to choose a teachable moment for the week, it would definitely be the battle is not mine, it's the Lord's. And I'm going to let him do his thing because I'm tired of trying to fight it alone. All right, get your notebooks out because School of Life is now in session, honey. We're going to hop right into our lesson on credit. So we've talked about building our relationship with money. We've talked about saving. We've talked about budgeting. Now we're talking about credit. And my hope is that all of these episodes have really just given you a fresh start to financial literacy if that's what you needed, or giving you some tips you might not have thought of. With credit, we know it's so important. Like, I wish it wasn't, but hey, I don't make the rules to live on this ghetto planet Earth. So yeah, we just gonna try to do our best to abide by them and have our best credit life going. So before you can fix your credit, I think it's important that you know what credit is. And when I say know what credit is, not just your score. I used Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, and Discover Scorecard to get a better understanding of my credit and my credit reports. And just so you know, all of these services are free. I'll be sure to tag them in the show notes. So that's Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, and Discover Scorecard. And it has been said that the Discover Scorecard model is the closest to what your FICO score might be. So in understanding credit, you may not know how it's calculated. So I'm going to give you the breakdown of how your credit score is calculated. You have your payment history, you have your utilization, you have the length of the credit history, the type of debt, and then your inquiries. So your payment history makes up 35% of your score. And all that's asking is, do you pay on time and do you pay the minimum? That one's kind of self-explanatory. But as you see, it's 35%, so it's a big chunk. The amounts owed or your utilization makes up 30% of the score. And that's really asking, how much do you owe compared to how much you could owe? So for example, if your credit limit is $1,000 and you owe $900, that's 90% of what you could borrow. And so your credit utilization is at 90%. The rule of thumb here is that you never want to be using more than 30% of your available credit. So if your credit limit is $1,000, you don't want to spend more than $300, and then you want to also pay it back. A lot of people jack up their credit score because they have a credit limit, let's say of $1,000, and they're using maybe $500, but then they're only paying back like the minimum of $25. So yeah, that's not good. You always want to use less than 30%. The biggest mistake is being over that 30% limit. Even if you are making on-time payments, Listen, there's a lot of power in utilization. You have to stay under that 30%. That's like a little hack, I guess. And then the length of your credit history makes up 15%. So just because you don't have anything negative doesn't mean you're more qualified to have good credit. I know a lot of us are young in our early 20s, so we're still establishing credit, but the older we get, the length, of course, the older we get and the more credit we establish, the older our length will become. One rule of thumb here is to try to keep your oldest credit card open because the length of your credit history is an average of the years that you've had credit. And just so you know, every new card you bring onto your credit report brings down your credit history. So an example would be a 10-year card plus an 8-year card versus a 10-year card plus an 8-year card plus a 1-year card. So the 10 plus 8 is the 18 years, but the 10 plus the 8 plus the 1 is the 19 years. If your utilization is poor with the 19-year example, it can just get messy. I hope that is making sense because how I wrote it and how I'm saying it may not be coming out right. But the point here is keep your oldest credit card open. So I'm 24. Let's say I got a credit card at 19. I want to keep that card open and not close that account because if I close it and I didn't get another credit card until I was 21, it looks as if I've only had credit for 3 years if I only was using credit cards. Now, if I had a car payment since 19, that's a different story. But the point is, don't close your accounts. Keep the oldest card open so that your credit history is longer. Oh, and then be mindful of opening new cards and closing old cards. So really just the same thing. Just keep that in your mind. Although it's only 15%, it's important to keep in mind that when you open a new card, every time you open a new card, first of all, that's an inquiry on your credit report, which I'll talk about. But second of all, if you're not keeping up with your payments, it's only going against you. It's not helping you. The next thing that makes up your credit score is the type of debt, which contributes to 10%. You can't do much about this. You just got to keep on living. We got to keep on building our credit. But it's important to have a good credit mix. So you don't want to only have credit cards. If you only have credit cards and you don't have a good mix. An example would be having student loans, having a car payment, having credit cards, maybe having a mortgage. I know we're all in different phases of our lives right now, so some of us may have student loans, some of us may not. Some of us may have a mortgage, some of us may not. But the key is just to have a good mix. Don't have 3 cars on your credit. That's not smart anyway. But if you do, fix it, Jesus. And don't have 10 credit cards. Like on mine, I have my student loans, I have my car, and I do have 2 credit cards. So apparently, I have a good credit mix. The big question here is just how many types of debt do you have? Like, can we trust you to have multiple types of debt and keep up your payments with all your debt? So, yeah, that's the type of debt. And then the last category is your inquiries, which make up 10% as well. And all that asks is how many times is someone who is not you looking at your credit score? And just a plug here, your score is not affected by you looking at it. So I check my credit like a million times a month just because I like checking my credit. I'm a weirdo like that. But your score is not affected by you looking at it. Your inquiries hit when someone who is not you looks at your credit score. And there are soft inquiries and hard inquiries. Soft inquiries do not have a major impact, but those hard ones do. And just a rule of thumb here that I've learned, honey, leave them store cards alone. The store credit cards can bring your score down dramatically. I learned that firsthand. But thank God I was able to rebound and, like I said, catch myself and self-correct. But yeah, leave those store cards alone because they can bring down your score. When you are applying for new credit, just be mindful that that is an inquiry and that makes up 10% of your credit. So that is how your score is calculated. You have your payment history, which is 35%, your utilization, which is 30%, your length of credit, which is 15%, your type of debt, which is 10%, and your inquiries, which are 10% as well. The next thing I want to talk about is just really some tips, some FYI, some things you may already know, some things you may not know. Hey, take what you need and pass to someone else what you don't. So for anyone who doesn't know, your score range is anywhere from 300 to 850. I know y'all probably hear people say they want to get to the 800 club, which is a great goal, but here's a secret I learned. 750 is low key the new 850. You start getting the best interest rates at 740. So if you aim to get your credit up to a 740, it's almost the same as having a 850. Like, don't beat yourself dead trying to get an 850. If yeah, you don't have to beat yourself dead. Just aim for the high 700s. I'll say that. And as far as FYIs, anything you do, especially if it's bad, have the most power within the first 2 years that you do it. So the things that you did 2 years ago or shorter have the biggest impact on your credit. So if you are in the business of fixing your credit, you want to fix the most recent things. Like if you're in your 40s, don't dig back to stuff that happened in your 20s. Like work on what you may have created in the last 2 years, because those are impacting your credit the most. Any or all of your credit cards can decrease your limit at any time. I'm not sure if people know that, but honey, if you're late with one bank or creditor and it affects your relationship with other banks and creditors, they'll be like, Miss Washington is not a good consumer, so we're going to decrease her limit, and you never want that to happen. The biggest thing here is really just keeping those credit balances low. Remember, no more than 30% utilization. I can't say that enough. And while we're talking about keeping things low, don't be out here co-signing for nobody, because keep that away. I don't know how y'all feel about it. That's my personal opinion. You can do what you want. It's your life, your credit. But when you co-sign, you take equal responsibility for that person's debt. If you co-sign, refinancing out is an option, but I am not co-signing for anybody, okay? And the person can request to have you taken off if you do co-sign. Just if you have to co-sign, but your girl won't be doing that. It's just, to me, look, I will not co-sign. So no co-signing, because that person's debt becomes your debt. Keep that balance low. 2 years or earlier is having the biggest impact. Just keep all of that in mind. And the biggest thing with credit, really, y'all, is to think about your future. Well, think about your now too, but really think about your future. Saving is important. Having good credit is important. You just never know what may happen. And I hate that we have to be such sticklers about credit, but it's how we get things. It's how you can get an apartment, how you get the best interest rates, even on cars and houses. It's just so much that goes into it. So it's important to start thinking about it now and to really take it serious now. A few tips and solutions that I can offer. I've been saying this one for like 3 weeks, but make your online payments automated. Like, this is like my new gospel. When you automate payments, it just makes things easier to remember. Actually, you don't even have to remember it because it does it for you. So that would be the first thing. Make your payments automated. Work to pay down your debt. I know a lot of us are in our debt-free mindsets, and we're like really working towards that. And I applaud anyone, because it's not easy. I'm working towards being debt-free, but if you're not, I encourage you to work towards paying down your debt, and know that credit is your financial GPA. I had a session with the budgetnista. Well, I listened to a session. I didn't have a session. I listened to a session with the budgetnista, and when she said this, I was like, yeah, it is. Like, really think about credit being your financial GPA, because anytime you need to borrow money, They're going to always look at this score. If you are struggling to get your score up, or if you are new to building credit, you can become an authorized user of someone that has good credit. The good part here is that even if they make mistakes, you only inherit the good that they do, but not any of the bad. So if you're close with your parents, your aunt, your uncles, your grandparents, and they have good credit, maybe consider asking them, can you become an authorized user so that your credit can increase as well. Also, just know when you pay off debt in full, it makes your credit score jump. Okay, jump, jump, jump. When you charge a small bill every month to your credit card, you're able to pay that small bill back on the due date. And when you pay it all the way off, I'm telling y'all, your credit score will increase. So things that you can put on your credit card on a recurring basis is like your Amazon account, or your Apple Pay, or your water bill, something that you can pay in full. That is the true hack right there. Credit is not meant to be considered a second source of income at all. The way I use my credit, I literally have my water bill comes out of there, and when I did have Amazon, my Amazon Prime, which I need to get it back. But anyways, I have my water bill and my Amazon Prime because those things are my cheapest bills. I would have it on auto pay, and I paid it in full every month. I'm telling y'all, my score went up almost 100 points within 9 months because I was just on it, like on it, on it, on it. Another thing about being on it is paying on the due date, not before. You want to pay on the due date so that it's recorded that you used your card and you paid it, and you paid on time. That's a whole nother thing. You can do a little bit more research there, but it's just important. Pay on the due date, okay? If you are struggling with your credit, and it's no shame, honey, because we are all here to get our adult lives together. There are credit cards called secured credit cards, and it is a great way to raise your credit score. Even if you're not struggling and you just want to get your credit score up, they are a great way to do that. It's basically a credit card with training wheels. Like, consider it like a little mini timeout. You got to do a little extra work to get back with the class, because you've been talking too much or you've been acting out. It's kind of like that, but it's really good to use if you want to get your credit up. If you're good with your secured card for 6 months to a year, you can become eligible for a regular card, and you can get secured cards at a bank. The thing with secured cards is that you put down a deposit, and that deposit determines your limit. So they may ask you to put down $400, then $400 is your limit. Secured cards have no shame in them. I've had to get a secured card before I could graduate to my big girl credit cards, and I will say it definitely helped me to stay on top of my bills and to just get my credit up. Like, I have no shame in saying that, and I encourage anyone to get one if you need to get one. Like, everyone can't qualify for a Capital One or a Discover credit card, or yeah, like, everyone can't start there. So if you have some challenges, consider a secured card. I'm an advocate, sis. I really am. And then the last tip, I know this is a lot of tips. I'll make sure I sum them up for y'all in the show notes. But the last tip is to really get a money team. Like, when you get serious about your finances, you want to have people you can trust who can help you along the way and help you navigate some things. That can be your significant other, your children, a best friend, and then maybe even an accountant and a lawyer, depending on what your financial situation is. But having a money team is critical. Like, I can call my sis now and we can talk about credit, and I can ask her questions, and we can just navigate things. Like, she's on my money team, and I like it that way. I consider my retirement advisor at work a part of my money team because she's helping me navigate my finances now to set me up for my future self. So really consider, when you're ready to have a money team, you don't have to like form an email chain or a group chat, but just know who you can go to, who can hold you accountable, and who can help you navigate getting your finances together. So, wow, I said a lot, but that wraps up our credit episode, and that wraps up today's installment of our financial literacy series. Y'all, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it through this series, but hey, we did it. I really hope you learned something new and can apply a new principle or idea to your own life. I know I said a lot today. I know I said a lot last week and the weeks before that, but I just want y'all to know I'm really serious about trying to help anyone that I can. And by no means does that mean I have it figured out. Like, no, we are rowing in the same boat. I might have said that on like the first episode, but yeah, anything I can do, any knowledge I can impart, I want to do that. Any resources I can provide, because this thing is hard out here. And speaking of resources, y'all know it's not the school of life without a few resources and, of course, some homework. So here you go. Your homework this week is to actually check your credit report if you have never done so and get a better understanding of what's on it. If you see some things that don't look right, you can dispute them. And if you use Credit Karma, it's actually free to dispute them, and you can do it straight from the website. And if you have checked your credit and you have a pretty decent understanding of what's on it and what's going on, then take some time to write down some new credit goals and how you might be able to increase your score more, pay off debt faster, and just take your financial literacy to the next level with maybe investments. Like, there's always room for growth for all of us. And I want to backtrack. Speaking of disputes, y'all, don't be out here paying people to get stuff taken off your credit. Listen, you can do that yourself. All it takes is some time and patience. I've disputed multiple things off my credit, and it was all through Credit Karma, and it was simple and easy. So if you really do need to dispute something, I highly recommend Credit Karma because it's free and because they get it done accurately. Not saying that people don't, but honey, save the coin. Didn't we talk about saving the coin last episode? Yeah, you gotta save the coin. And no knock to anyone who does stuff like that. Not at all. But y'all know people can do that stuff themselves. Get a new side hustle. Anyways, there are many, many resources out there on credit, but one of them I am never utilizing is a company to dispute stuff off my credit. Okay, call it what you want, but I'm saving that coin. So enough on that because I just went on a little rant. Y'all know I love to provide resources where I can, and if you haven't figured out, this week's resource is Credit Karma. It is my go-to resource for today. They actually should cut me a check because I just have been promoting them all episode. The website, y'all, has truly helped me get the reins of my credit and just get where I want to be. I struggled in the beginning. First of all, my mom had stuff in my name from when I was young. That's a whole nother story and a mess. So my credit already put me like behind the starting line, and then I made my own personal oopsies, and so I just had to basically scrap it. Like, throw this credit away, get a new credit score. That's what I wanted to do. I couldn't do that, but hey, that's what I wanted to do. But I will say Credit Karma really has helped me, and of course doing research and joining things like the Live Richer Academy with the Budgetnista, it has helped me just get a better understanding of what credit is, how I'm using it, why I'm using it, and just how to keep my score up and keep my payments on time and just everything that comes with it. Like I said, I was able to raise my score almost 100 points within 9 months, and now I am knocking on the 800 club almost. But yeah, we get in there. Also, Credit Karma does have an app. So if you just lazy and don't want to get on the computer, or if you don't have a computer, you may not be lazy. But if you are an app person, they have an app. Look, y'all, just go to Credit Karma right now. Close the podcast. It's almost over. Go to Credit Karma and get it together. All you need is your first name, last name, social security number, and I think an email address to sign up. So do that today if you haven't, or Credit Sesame or the Discover scorecard. But my personal favorite is Credit Karma. Look, when we know better, we do better. And if you haven't tried out some type of credit monitoring service that's free, I'm highly recommending that as a resource today. So, all right, enough on that. I hope y'all took some little nuggets that you can apply to your life. Let's hop into our show and tell segment. Ooh. Ah. So this week we are featuring, drum roll please. I should put a little drum roll right here. Me. I know that's crazy. I normally don't talk about me a lot. Well, not my businesses anyway, but this week I decided to feature me because it's my podcast and I can do that. So, y'all know me as Jay the podcast host, but I am also the proud owner of Party with a Princess LLC, which is a full service party hosting business for young girls aged 4 to 12. I am currently located in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm available to travel up to 2.5 hours for an additional fee. So how was Party with a Princess started? Listen, y'all, this story is crazy. So back in 2017, I had a soror who wanted to have a princess themed birthday party for her daughter. And so there are companies who do this as well. I mean, they don't do it like me, but there are companies who do this and they do like Cinderella and Snow White and all of the Disney princesses. So, whatever the case, this soror called a company, and long story short, they couldn't guarantee her a black princess. Dun dun dun, not good. So she reached out to a couple of her line sisters, and somehow my name got thrown in the mix. Like, oh, well, how about you just hire someone to come in and dress up like a princess, and boom, you got a black princess. So it was really just done as a favor. So when they, first of all, backtrack. When they contacted me, I was like, sure, I'll actually do it for free. Like, no big deal. I'm a princess every day in my life. Like, my father is the king of kings. Duh, I'm a princess. I got this. So, anyways, we rented a princess costume. I curled my hair. Like, I was looking real cute. Like, maybe I'll post a picture on my Instagram so y'all can see. But I was looking real cute as a princess. And so, after the party, um, well, at the party, first of all, we played games, we sung songs, we talked about etiquette. I talked to them about how beautiful they were and just how self esteem was important. Like, y'all, I love kids and I especially love little girls. Like, we are so magical when we first come into this world. So, anyways, I just took all of that into the party to let them know, like, you it, boo. Like, you six, but you it. Just know that and remember that. So, long story short, again, at the end of the party, my soror was like, Jay, you should do this as a business. And I was like, girl, bye. No, I did this as a favor. Let's return this dress. Have a good time. Boom, boom, boom. Fast forward 2 years later, here we are. I made it a business, and I'm really, really excited. I know that my business will touch lives, and that's really the goal. Like, it's not just a birthday party, like, it's truly a life changing experience. Like, my goal is to instill something in those young ladies that they can carry with them forever because I didn't get that a whole bunch growing up. In the world we live in, we need to protect our babies. So, that's Party with a Princess. I am currently undergoing a total revamp, including my website, but you can follow me on Instagram at underscore party with the princess or email me at partywiththeprincessinfo.com to inquire about party services if you are local to the area. I know that God has blessed Party with the Princess beyond measures already. And so I'm just being obedient and trusting his plan because it has not been easy, especially because I started it in Delaware, then I moved to Huntsville last year, and now I'm here, and then fear creeps in, and woo, that's a whole nother episode, fear. So, anyways, yeah, that's me. I am a proud entrepreneur. I have really, really big goals. And so I just wanted to share in case anyone was in the area and wanted to use my services. I encourage anyone who's an entrepreneur to put yourself out there. Like, don't be afraid. Put yourself out there and trust God. If it's a God thing, honey, submit it to Him and trust His plan because He got this thing, okay? This battle, like I said earlier, is not mine. My big homie got it. So today, for our Raise Your Hand segment, we have one question that was submitted, and this is a pretty good question. This friend wants to know, how do I find my purpose? To me, this is such a loaded question because we are we wonder about this every day or mostly every day. I don't know about y'all, but I went through a season where I was like, Lord, what am I here to do? Um, in a nutshell, I would say that purpose is a God thing. And so you have to consult him. When you have an issue with your TV, you check out the TV guy or you call your provider because they're giving you those services. Basically the same thing. Like, God made us and he knows why he made us. So you have to go straight to Him. I know a lot of people say, oh, your purpose is what you love to do. I mean, maybe, but I look at it as a total God thing. I can't tell you how to find your purpose except by saying, go to your maker. Like, if you ask, He will show you. He will show you what it's not. He will show you what it is. He will guide you, like all of that. And there will not be any questions about it. And then, even after He shows you, you have to be willing to submit yourself fully to Him to carry out that purpose. I think that's where a lot of people kind of go wrong. Like, we want to know our purpose, and God is showing us the whole time, but because we're not submitting our will to His, we're not able to receive that message clearly, and we're still trying to do our thing plus mix in a little bit of the God thing, when really we should just be doing the God thing. So, friend, consult God. Get in His presence, pray, listen to some worship music, surround yourself with like-minded people. If you want me to pray for you, I will. Just let your girl know. Well, I pray for all y'all anyway, but if you want a special prayer, yeah, just let me know, because that's a big question. I know people ask themselves that question all the time. Sometimes I still ask myself, and when I do, I go right back to God, like, what's up, homie? Now, what did you say it was again? Just give me a reminder. Like, let me make sure I write it down clearly, because I was trying to do my own thing for a little second. Just, send me a text and let me know that, hey, Jay, you're doing the wrong thing. But really, consult with God. Purpose is it's a total God thing, 100%. 1,000%, all the percent in the world, that's how much it is. So I hope that helps you. Thanks for that question. It was a really great question, and I'm honestly looking forward to diving more into purpose on a full episode. So I will definitely add that to my list. Don't forget to have any of your adulting questions or advice answered during our Raise Your Hand segment. You can slide in my DMs or send me an email at schooloflifepod@gmail.com. So that wraps up another episode of the School of Life podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all's support. Don't forget to follow the podcast on Instagram at School of Life Pod. And this week, I'm challenging you to share the podcast with a friend or two. I appreciate your listenership and can't wait to talk to you next week.